Pop quiz. Your man doesn't tell you what he needs from you when he's struggling with something because A, he's flooded with his own emotions, B, he doesn't know what he needs from you, or C, both. Hello, I'm Dr. Debi, and I've been helping men, women, and couples grow together for more than 25 years. Now it's your turn to learn what I learned and taught as a couples counselor and university professor. You are the wise woman, and this is your personal development podcast packed with instant encouragement and practical tips. And men can learn about women too, because this is a safe place where women are valued and men are respected. We talk about biology, socialization, behavior, emotions, communication, and connection, because men and women are different. Always have been, always will be, and that's a very good thing. The correct answer, of course, is both. An understanding of men necessarily includes a healthy respect for the man cave. But as women, we typically have a really hard time with it. We have nothing to compare it to, so it simply doesn't make sense to us. But it makes a lot of sense to men. When we're worried about something, we usually want someone to walk and talk through it with us. For the most part, American culture has trained us to do just that. However, that same culture taught him to do the opposite. Remember the story of what happened to the toddler boy on the playground? Well, your husband's early experiences were the beginning of his education in the boy code. He learned that a man has to appear tough, to be a sturdy oak, in order to be loved and respected. And he learned that a man must figure out his own problems and deal with any vulnerable emotions, such as anger, sadness, fear, hurt, grief, shame, guilt, and even doubt, all on his own. So that's what he does, and he does it in the man cave. Looking at it from our side of the wall, the man cave feels like stonewalling at best and abandonment at worst. But the man cave isn't stonewalling at all. Unless a woman tries to break through, then he has double trouble on his hands. Simply knowing that her man is struggling is not enough, because that only serves to trigger a woman's natural desire to reach out and encourage him, to get him to talk to her, to try to convince him that she is his safe haven. But a lifetime of experience has taught him otherwise. Her efforts to connect will feel like an invasion to him, and or add to his sense of guilt and shame that he hasn't got a solution, both of which will result in an immediate increase in his defensiveness, usually by strengthening his wall. And being shut out makes her more anxious, more worried about him, and about herself. It feels like the beginning of the end to her, and she often doesn't understand why, so she tries to fix it. But first, she has to get through the wall. Drastic times call for drastic measures, so she hauls out the wrecking ball. I mean, after all, doesn't the Bible say it's not good for the man to be alone? Well, you can see where this is going, right? Nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. So what do? You ask me in frustration. I suppose you expect me to sit down on the curb outside the man cave and just wait for him to come out? If I do that, you reason, he'll never come out. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. There's so much more you can do to help him. Yes, you're right about it not being good for him to be alone. But how you choose to partner with him in times like these will make all the difference in the world for you both. First, let him know you notice something's up with him, and keep your remarks simple. You might say, I feel like you're disappearing and suspect that something's troubling you. Life is so hard on men. I don't know how you do it. Second, shut up. Yes, I know I shouldn't tell you to shut up because my grandson told me those are bad words, but it's essential that we learn this important fact. When it comes to his emotions, something said in fewer words holds more meaning for a man. He listens in sentences, remember? So don't worry if he doesn't respond or offer more. Your empathy did register with him, and it made a difference. It made an immediate, significant difference. And by not probing him with a lot of questions or pounding him with further verbiage, you're demonstrating your respect for the man cave. Third, if he does share his struggle, your job is simply to listen. He's testing the water to see if you're safe, and you are. Your goal is to learn about him. No advice, no suggestions. Let your words be few and empathic, such as, sounds hard. And most importantly, keep what he does share between you and the Lord. Which brings us to the fourth and most important thing you can do. Pray for him. He doesn't necessarily need to know that you're praying, though some men do feel supported by that fact. If you do tell him, say it once a day at most. Most Christian women pray for their husbands, of course, but what's the content of your prayer? Are you just telling the Lord to help him get his act together so your life will be easier? Or are you sincerely interested in meeting his needs? If you want to pray effectively for your man, you'll need to get into the cave with him. That's spiritually and emotionally speaking, rather than verbally or invasive, as I already noted. Don't insist that he talk about his feelings because he may not understand them himself. Because you're not a man, you'll need a spirit of wisdom and revelation, as Paul mentioned in the first chapter of Ephesians. That will enable you to pray for him in accordance with God's will, and it will give you a better perspective on the situation. Yes, you may have some great ideas, but this may not be the best time to share them with your man. Wait upon the Lord, trusting that he cares a lot more about what's going on with your man than you do. One final word. Keep the content of your prayers between you and the Lord. Your husband's vulnerability is not a subject you should be sharing with your mother, your sister, or your girlfriends. And that's the truth about the man cave and what he needs from you while he's there. Thank you for listening to this episode of A Wise Woman's Guide to Men and Marriage. What did you think? Did the information raise more questions? Do you want to learn more? Head over to A Wise Woman's Guide for show notes and links to the resources mentioned in this episode at awisewomensguide.com.